getting some brackets put on there to tie those floor joists into to hold them down. And this first one is out on the end. I took some of that same angle, it's a 1/4 inch, 10 inch by 6 inch angle, and that's what I used on the other end of those beams to hang them from the rim joist. Well, I cut some 3-inch wide pieces off of that same piece and drilled some 1/4 inch holes in it for some lag screws, and I welded them on the end, and that way I can stand up that floor joist up against that, and then I can run some of those timber screws through there to hold that down. I got the first one done, and I welded all the way around it, not for strength, but to fill in any gaps in there that any moisture or any water might infiltrate into. So there's no chance of any water getting in there between those plates and sitting in there and causing rust. That's a big problem in this country. So I've got the first one welded on. I moved down to the second one now. Now for that field, I thought about what I was going to do with that. And I went down and got myself some 2-inch, 1/8 inch angle iron. And I cut it off into 6-inch sections, and then drilled holes in it. And I've got some Simpson strong tie screws that they sell for Simpson strong tie brackets and stuff. They're what, 3/16 diameter. Anyway, my original plan was to take these and weld these on this face like this, and then put the joist up against this and bolt it down like that. But this one here, I got the face turned out, so that really won't work on that, because those, the way I've set this up now, with those ends recessed in so they're well underneath the roof line, I could either weld them on to this lip over here on this side, which doesn't give me a whole lot, but it's probably plenty for what I need, or I can just weld them on like this. So that's what I think I'm going to do, is just weld them on like this. These are cut 6 inches, so they'll stick up there pretty high, but those floor joists are 8 inches, so they'll be 2 inches up above them. Anyway, that's a little change of plan there. I'll get these end caps welded on first, and then I'll start measuring out. I'm going to put those floor joists on 2-foot centers, so I'll start measuring out for those. Well, the weatherman's always right, at least as long as he can change his forecast every hour. We were forecast to get one more day of nice weather before this changed, and then late last night they changed it and said it was going to snow today. And sure enough, it's snowing today. Anyway, it's still dry, relatively dry. The snow, is a light snow. It's still below freezing, so it's relatively dry. I've got all my equipment out. Luckily, I never take for granted the weather forecast, and I put everything under cover last night. I've got this first piece marked, this first channel beam marked to where to grind for those angle brackets that'll be bolting the joist onto, and I got the third one down there partway marked. I still have to mark the 6-foot line, which was hanging out in space there where I couldn't reach it, and then I'll get the middle one, and we'll get all those ground and then get the welder out and start welding them. It took longer to do this yesterday than I thought. I was thinking I was going to get all this welded up yesterday and those things bolted down, but of course I didn't. It took a while to get set up and to figure out what I was doing, to get these brackets that I welded on the end cut out, and then the paint ground off of them and drilled out and all that kind of stuff. The real hang up kind of came towards the end down there. After I got that second bracket welded on, the welder started kicking the circuit breaker. When it goes past its duty cycle, it's supposed to shut off the welding part of it and leave the fan going, but it winds up kicking the circuit breakers off, I guess, as it draws too much current. And these doggone square D circuit breakers, it seems like once they get kicked off, then it takes less and less current every time to kick them off the second time. I switched circuits in there in the basement trying to get it to work, and finally let it sit for a while and then switched circuits and finished up that last one right at dark. I don't know, I've had that problem before. That's a 110 volt welder, and I run it on 20 amp circuits, and it seems like once those square D breakers kick off, then the next time they kick off quicker, and then the next time they quicker than that, pretty soon you can't get them to stay on at all. And I wound up changing the breakers. That's even after letting them cool off for days, just the way it is. But I'm going to have to put this camera away. This snow's melting on it, so it's going to get wet. I need an umbrella for it or something. I got those tabs all welded on there. The ones down there on the end were kind of a challenge there. Made a little bit of a mistake on this middle one on this outside post here. Wasn't paying as much attention as I should have, and I put that one on there inside out, I guess. So the angle is out instead of the flat part, but it's not a structural problem or anything. It's just an aesthetic problem, and that'll all be covered up. Nobody will ever know it but me, and I'll forget it since I'm old and my memory's going. At least that's what they say. Oh, now I'll get all those boards all laid out there on those, and then I've got some screws to screw those down to those tabs. Now the number 4-foot one here, not going to be able to put it up right now because these posts that hold the porch up, the roof up, are kind of in the way. We're going to have to be able to support that roof, but I'm just about done working on this for now. I got about everything I'm going to on this now. I'll get these fastened down, this one fastened down, the number 2, and maybe the number 6 in the outside ones. I'll see. But that's what this is going to look like. I actually could have left that the way it was for now. I'm thinking I did pretty good. I only fell down once on this ice and snow. I said I was going to get the tape measure out and do a 3, 4, 5 triangle here, probably a 6, 8, 10 triangle here to make sure these all line up. I probably don't have to do that because I did it on this beam right here already, and that should be square, but I'm going to do it anyway just to make sure. I've got the fasteners to fasten down those inside joists. Those are strong tie fasteners that Strong Size sells for their brackets that they make, but I don't have what I want for this outside end here. I've got 2.5-inch ones, 4-inch ones, 6-inch, 8-inch, 10-inch, might even have some longer than 10-inch, I don't know. But those won't work on this. Boards are 2.5 inches thick, so the two of them together on this outside one will be 5 inches, so a 4-inch one would only extend into there 1.5 inches, and I really want it to go in there farther. 6-inch one would stick out the end of it, and those things are threaded on the ends, and then the shank on them is tapered down smaller than the thread diameter, so if they go out the end of it, they'll lose some of the holding power. So anyway, I've got to go to town and get some fasteners for those. The ones that can be screwed down are screwed down. Of course, the inside one is bolted down, screwed down to the rim joist, to the face there. Number 2 is screwed down to those tabs that I put in. I can't do anything with number 4 until I can support that roof up there. Forecast to get some snow here, so I don't dare do anything with that roof right now. It needs to be supported because that takes all the snow load, not only what gets on it, but what comes down off the main roof onto it. Number 6 is all tied down. And of course, like I said, the number 8, I need some different screws for it. I was planning on going to town and getting those to get that thing screwed down, but it's already after 3, so it's going to be dark here pretty soon. Oh, I need to get some decking down on that so we can get in and out of the house when we need to. Oh, I'll get those screws and get that screwed down tomorrow. I dug this plank out of the pile. It's been kicking around here for quite a while. I cut it several years ago to deck the bottom of my dump trailer with, so when I loaded the excavator in it, it wouldn't slide around so bad, and kind of help protect that steel bottom in that dump trailer. I never did use it. It's hemlock, and it's cut about 1.5 inches thick, 12 inches wide. I think that board's 16 feet long. So I want to get out the circle saw, and I'm going to cut off chunks of that about 3 foot long. I've got a couple more of them in there if this one's not enough. Anyway, I got to get busy and get that done before we get all buried in snow, and it's going to be dark here pretty soon, so I got to get my extension cords back out. Well, those planks turned out to be 18 feet long instead of 16 feet long. I cut them into 3 foot chunks, and it took 10 of them to go across to get access to the door. And we got a big step here off the sidewalk up onto there, but it's a lot better than doing the balancing beam act. I'm too old for that crap, and too many years since I walked a rail. I probably should get some little nails or something. I don't want to spike that down or anything. I probably should get some little nails and tack that down so that boards don't float off of there. That kind of wraps this up for a while. I can put my welder away. I am all done with it. I'll put the rest of the tools away where they get dried out. It looks like we'll probably be dealing with snow here now for a few days, so that's going to take up all the excess time. Hopefully I can get started on the airplane. I got a couple of things ready to go on it. I need to get back at it and get back on track there.